Welcome to Recalculating Small Business. Like its award-winning book, Recalculating is dedicated to small business in America. Your hosts are Don Mazzella and Dan Perkins. Don Mazzella is the editor-in-chief of the Small Business Digest. Dan Perkins is a registered investment advisor with 43 years' experience in managing money.
Dan Perkins here, your co-host, along with Don Mazzella of Recalculating for Small Business. Our radio program is dedicated to you, helping the small business owners increase their profits. We draw our name from Recalculating, voted the best small business book of 2017 by the Independent Press. In this book, it features ways to grow your small business. Now, here's Don Mazzella.
Our next guest is Laura Cole. She's going to tell you a little bit about what she does, how she does it, and she's going to bring what I think is a very new experience to our show. Laura, welcome to the program, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me. So as you said, my name's Laura Cole, and I am the Vice President of Marketing with Vivial. So in my role with Vivial, I oversee all of our corporate communications, our research, our advertising, as well as the products and services that we take to our small business customers. I also work really closely with our product development and engineering teams as we launch digital products that we're taking primarily to small businesses throughout the United States. So a little bit about Vivial. We are a marketing technology company, and we have a full range of customer engagement tools to help small and medium-sized businesses enhance the way that they connect with their customers and help them build loyalty with their customers, manage their content, and ultimately track those results to make sure that the marketing and advertising efforts that they're undertaking make sense and are working for their small business.
Well, Laura, will you spell out your company's name and website?
Yeah, absolutely. So as mentioned, it's Vivial, and that is Vivial. And our website, you can find information about our products and services at vivial.net.
Okay. Now, I'm a small business, and we're talking video, which immediately scares about 90% of our listeners. What does your product do, or products do, and how does it help our audience add profits?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, if I had to describe what we do and how we do it, we understand that small businesses don't have the capacity or a lot of times the time and effort to oversee their marketing initiative. So, many times small business owners are so focused on the day-to-day of running their business, as they should be, that they can't keep up with the constantly changing technology of how to get their business found. As we look at over the last 5 years, in terms of all the technology advancements that are going on, that's a really tough thing for a small business to stay on top of. So essentially what we do is we help businesses of all types, all different industries, increase how they're found online. So we really allow them to get back to run their business while we work behind the scenes to get them results. And we do this through a variety of ways. So we have a marketing platform, which is kind of an all-in-one place where a business can manage all of their content online, their social media efforts, and ultimately, get themselves found on Google, which, as we know, for a lot of small businesses is really, really important for them. We help small businesses build websites, advertise online, and maximize all their efforts. And I'm very well aware that a lot of this can be really confusing for a small business, and that's why we step in and kind of do it with our customers every step of the way. So we have account coordinator that manages really every aspect for the small business. So it's as though you have like your own little marketing department built in, even if you're just a one-person or two-person shop, which a lot of small businesses are.
Okay, well, let's back up. I'm a new customer. I sell widgets. Okay?
Yeah.
Or I come to you and I say my budget is $10,000. What are the questions I should be asking you, and what are the questions you will be asking me?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, we always start by asking a lot of questions of small business of our partners because we want to understand about their business. So we want to understand what you're doing currently online. Do you have a website? And a really important part of that is, do you have a mobile responsive website? And what that means is if somebody's searching for you from their mobile device, which we know over half of searches happen on a mobile device these days, we want you to be found. And the way to do that is to make sure that your website actually works from a mobile phone search. So we'd get to know about your business. Do you have a website? Are you undertaking social media? How much advertising are you doing currently to get your name out there? Are you looking to grow your business, maintain your business? Do you have a lot of existing customers? Are you looking to attract new customers? So, that kind of gives a sampling of all the things we want to understand about your business so that we can put together, a program for you that makes sense. As a small business, you should really be asking a lot of questions from the potential providers that you're thinking about working with. So definitely want to understand, how long they've been in business, how many small businesses they work with. Do they have experience working with the type of industry that you represent? Do they have a wide range of offerings? And I think one of the more important questions is, are you going to continue working with me once I write you that check, right? So you said you have a $10,000 budget. What you don't want is to write that check and then to kind of feel like you're left hanging and like you don't know what's coming from that. So what type of ongoing service do you get from the partner that you choose to work with? I think those are some really key questions to ask.
Well, that's a great one, but you say you have a video component. Let's go there for a minute. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we offer videos for small businesses. So, video is a great way to showcase as a small business what you do. So if you're a landscaper or you're an attorney or you're a physician, video can be a great way to highlight very clearly in 30 to 60 seconds what you do. One of the best ways to kind of tell what you do is to actually show it. And so you can show example projects that you've done. You can, really gain a lot of reliability for the business that you work with. Video is one of the more exciting things that we're working on right now. And one of the things that we're most excited about that we've launched recently is actually our Facebook advertising component that we've built directly into the marketing platform. That's another really exciting piece and kind of, really innovative for the times.
Okay. People are throwing these out. In preparation for today's talk, I just picked up, and I had 7 different people write to me for my company to tell me that they could help me on Facebook or Google, etc. But the real question, I guess, is, like take a broadcasting group like us. What are we? We're people that have a program that deals with small business. How do we work with your company to get us better known on? Let's start with Facebook, which is where everybody seems to go.
Sure. Yeah, no, great question. Facebook advertising is incredibly popular. So, if you just think about the amount of, there's over 1 billion daily users of Facebook, right? So, ton of eyeballs out there, ton of people looking for information. And as a business, so we'll use your business as an example, a broadcasting company, you have a Facebook business page. It's harder and harder for you to be found for people that are looking for you, even if they've chosen to follow your page or like your page and say, hey, we're interested in finding out more about your company. Because there's so much content being produced on Facebook, the ability to show up in what is referred to as the organic listings, or just how you naturally would appear up, is very difficult. And that's really where Facebook advertising comes in. So with Facebook advertising, it allows a business to target customers based on, very targeted characteristics. You can target, if you know that, your listeners or the people that you're trying to target are an age or a certain gender, they're maybe based in a certain location, have a specific interest, you can actually target an audience so that the content that you're producing and putting out on Facebook is seen by people that are really, really relevant and actually want to be seeing the products and services that you're putting out there. So again, it can sound really confusing for a small business, and that's why, our motto is kind of doing it with a business, walking them through it. We don't just expect you to write us a check and then turn it over to you. We want to help you along the way. We want to write relevant content for you, write custom content for you so that you can be found when people are looking most. And Facebook is one of those places, as we know, with that many people daily on it. People are looking for information, and so you want to be able to be found when they're looking for you.
At Valero, we believe life gets lived between every fill-up. So whether you go down the road on 2 wheels or 4, whether your Wednesday night is spent racing to the grocery store or down a track, and whether you're dropping off the mail, the pizza, the kids, or all of the above, we're here to make sure you're never running on empty. Valero top-tier certified quality fuel keeps your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. Find a station near you at ValeroCleanGas.com.
Dan Perkins here from Recalculating.biz with your small business tip of the day. Do you audition new hires, especially for social media and other creative skill jobs? Actors audition for parts in plays, TV shows, movies, even commercials. If you're going to expand your social media footprint and you're thinking about hiring your own social media manager, then why not audition the applicant for the job? People can speak the lingo, but can they walk the walk? You have a right to see what they can do. When a graphic artist applies for a job, they bring in a portfolio of their work. So when you're auditioning your social media person, have them make a presentation of their success. So here's your Recalculating.biz tip of the day. Have the potential candidates for a social media job go to your website and have them make a presentation to you what they would change about your site and what the changes would do in terms of new customers and sales. A picture can be worth 1,000 words. This is Dan Perkins with your Recalculating.biz small business tip of the day.
Well, let's go, because this is fascinating. And my partner, Dan Perkins, and I, we both have books. I have an historical novel. We also have Recalculating, which this program is based upon. And he has a trilogy dealing with ISIS and another book coming out. Let's start with that. How would a company like yours help us to expand the readership of those books?
Yeah, so if you have any sort of idea, if we stick on the Facebook advertising concept, right? First step would be, do you have a Facebook business page for any of these companies, right? Do you have a Facebook business page where we can place content? That would be the first step. And if you don't have that, we can absolutely help you create that. So it's a Facebook business page that's centered around. We'll take the Recalculating one as the example, right? So Facebook business page specific to this. And the goal of this will be to grow the audience of people who are interested in this so that you can deliver content to them. And one way to do that is through the advertising piece. So, so we would work with you to understand the type of audience that we're trying to target with Recalculating. Again, maybe it's a certain age group. Maybe it's 18 to 42-year-olds. Maybe it is people that live in the Midwest and the southern states. Maybe it is you find more that it's men versus women, or maybe it's evenly targeted. We actually target the audience based on all those characteristics and then begin promoting that content. So if you're ever on Facebook and you're scrolling through and you see these things that are titled sponsored posts, right? Those are exactly what we're talking about. Those are promoted posts that people are putting in front of you because you've been defined as somebody in their target audience. And, I can think of a lot of examples in my own personal use of Facebook over the past couple months that those are intriguing because they're things that you're interested in, right? Like if you have kids, you find out that you get targeted by a lot of kids stuff. If you're into fashion, maybe you're getting fashion stuff. If you're into, political things, maybe you get a lot of political posts. So it's a very easy way to get put in front of eyeballs. And ultimately, so what happens then? What happens is people engage with your content. They like it. They share it to their friends. They maybe like your page, and that's how you grow your following and get them exposed to even more of what you're doing.
Wow. A curious question. How did you get into this industry, and a little bit of your personal background?
Yeah, so I've been with Vivial a little over 16 years. So I've been working with small businesses for really that entire time, and been helping them with advertising needs that entire time, which, as you can imagine, over 16 years has changed a lot, right? So what traditionally would work for a small business is, a piece of print advertising, and maybe at the time like a little small thing online. And 16 years later, flash forward, and there's a whole variety of solutions, which makes it incredibly confusing for a small business. So, my passion is I love working every day with small businesses, love thinking about how we can take really, really simple solutions for our customers, and to provide them a return on investment. There's nothing better in my world, and I get to see a lot of it because of my role within the organization, where we have one of our customers raise their hand and say, "Wow, you really, really helped me." I am, one of our customers who started with us on Facebook, stated that we brought him in the last month like 15 new business customers, 15 new customers to their business. And so as somebody who's spent, really my entire professional career helping small businesses, that's like music to my ears. We love, love, love when we can hear that what we're doing really works for small businesses.
We're talking with Laura Cole. She's Vice President of Marketing for Vivial, Vivial. She's here talking about the various things that a small business can do to generate additional profit. Given your background, Laura, what are the three things you think are most important for a small business to keep in mind as they face this brave new world that we're all trying to understand?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So 3 things that I think are the most important for a small business to understand. First would be mobile. It's no secret that the growth in mobile has grown significantly and is going to continue to grow, right? We're going to continue to see people, because it's very easily accessible, right? Everybody's got a smartphone, or it feels like everybody has a smartphone. And they're searching for you now in ways that they never have before. And so making sure that your business can be found not just online, but for the various ways that people are searching. Because if I'm coming to do a search on a desktop at my, sitting at my desk versus on my mobile phone, I expect as a consumer to have a very different reaction. Mobile tends to be, a lot more instantaneous, click to call, things like that. I want your website to be, friendly to my eyes. I want to be able to understand it, not have to kind of pinch in and zoom out and all of those sort of things. So mobile is definitely the first thing, and keeping an eye on kind of all things mobile. Certainly we talked about video and the growth of video and how important it is as a small business, to have video that showcases your business and what you do. I think keeping track of that. And one of the things that is kind of exciting to us right now also is reviews and the power of reviews for small businesses. So it's becoming more and more relevant, and more commonplace, if you will, for people to rely on reviews as their judgment of a specific business. So, if you think about, you're maybe visiting a place and you want pizza, and you're visiting a new city, and you find that you go on Google and you're searching for and trusting reviews of people that you've never even met, but it's very commonplace to do that. So for a small business particularly, it's important that you manage your online reputation and manage what people are saying about you proactively, because it's very important that you respond effectively. Even if it's a negative review, you definitely want to respond to it and make sure that people know that that you take all comments, whether they're positive or negative, very seriously.
We're talking with Laura Cole. She's Vice President of Marketing for Vivial. I'm pronouncing it right, Vivial. I guess as one final question, why do you see failures in some campaigns that you've been involved with? Is it a fault? And I don't mean a fault so much.
Yeah.
What do small businesses not do that they should do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that, as a small business, when you're making the commitment to spend any type of dollars, whether it's, $10 a month or $1,000 a month, if you're making a commitment to spend money on advertising, you want to make sure that you stay engaged. So probably where we see failure is just maybe in a small business that can't maybe follow through on their end. So we can do most of it for you, and quite frankly, we're A-okay doing most of it for you, but we always need just a little bit of help in terms of either handing us the reins or giving things over to us, and probably engagement would be maybe the biggest thing. The other thing that I just talked about, which was the reviews, a business that it kind of wants to shy away from managing their reviews and kind of think, well, I don't want to respond. I don't want to, I don't want to respond online because I'm too private. That's a very big mistake. And you can see businesses, failure might be strong, but when you allow kind of things to be said about your business, positive or negative, without responding, that can be pretty detrimental. So those would be kind of the two things that I would point out.
Well, can I just go a little further on that point? There's always somebody out there that no matter what you do, he or she really blasts you. Well, how do you handle something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you can't always, right? So what we try to do is give you the keys to do the best that you can. So we always recommend responding online to any comment, whether it be positive, negative, even if they're blasting you, responding online so that people can see that you are responding, and then try to take the conversation offline. The good news is that typically in those situations when somebody's really coming at you or really blasting you, it's pretty obvious to other people that that's what that person's doing as well. And if you take the high road and respond in a very positive way, but very simple and to the point, and then attempt to take it offline, that actually shows, overwhelmingly your ability to work with people, and we find that in most cases that turns out to be more positive. So, keep it simple, straight to the point, keep it positive, and then take it offline.
Wow, Laura, you've given us a lot to think about, and thank you so much for joining us today. We enjoyed, we learned a lot. We hope our audience did as well. We've been talking with Laura Cole. She's Vice President of Marketing for Vivial, and we thank her so much for joining us.
Excellent. Thank you. Great coming today.
Life. It's made up of the simple day-to-day moments that keep us all running on full of joy, passion, and restlessness. It's singing full on to your car radio with the windows wide open. It's a whole bunch of early morning rush hours and a few late night runs for Rocky Road. It's full of pit stops and drive-thrus. It's life, and we live it between fill-ups at Valero. Valero top-tier certified quality fuel keeps your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. Find a station near you at ValeroCleanGas.com.
In New York this week, 500 managers and bankers from across the fintech world met to discuss the rising use of online financial resource companies. It was the latest of a number of such concaves across the country. What does it mean for small business leaders? Speaker after speaker droned on about the funds available to grow their small businesses. Other panelists talked about the ease such companies are making the loan process. Finding the money to grow can be as short as an hour. Some speakers said the average was 3 days versus going to a more traditional banking resource, which could take up to 3 months. But as one speaker pointed out, small businesses can suffer in one way from the fintech revolution. The personal banking touch that puts the small business leader in physical proximity to the banker, that personal touch that can come in handy should growth plans not work out exactly as expected, is not there. There is an old saying, when you owe enough to the bank, you own the bank. Most banks won't let that happen, but having a personal relationship can ease some issues. Fintech bankers are about doing everything over the internet. For those times when the small business succeeds, this works great. But what happens if they don't? It's harder without that personal touch.
We've been asked recently by a number of people, how can they listen to past shows? And if you go to recalculating.biz, you'll find a link to iHeartRadio, which will allow you to go back and listen to shows that you didn't get a chance to finish or never heard. So we encourage you to go there, recalculating.biz.
Welcome back to Recalculating, a program designed to help you be successful.
Dan, we really have an interesting guest with us. Caroline Bruckner is the Managing Director of the Kogod Tax Policy Center at American University. She's here to talk about some groundbreaking research about women business owners and tax breaks that they can and sometimes do take advantage of, but others could as well. Caroline, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm glad to be with you this morning.
Well, you certainly sound enthusiastic, and let's get right into it. Caroline, tell us about your institute and about briefly about the survey that you did and some of the results and your website.
Absolutely. So I am the Managing Director of the Kogod Tax Policy Center, and we put out nonpartisan research on tax and compliance issues that are specific to small businesses and entrepreneurs. And our latest research project is Billion Dollar Blind Spot, and it looks at how the U.S. tax code's small business tax expenditures impact women business owners specifically, because 99% of women business owners are in fact small businesses. And we thought it would be an interesting project to look at whether or not women business owners take small business tax breaks to the same extent as other firms, because women business owners are in fact the fastest growing segment of the small business sector.
Oh, okay. And your website, how people can get this study and other studies?
You can just go on the internet and you can type in Billion Dollar Blind Spot, and it'll come right up. And the name is derived from the results of our research, which finds that neither the government nor Congress nor the IRS has ever done any consistent research assessing how effective small business tax breaks are for women business owners. And that is effectively a billion-dollar blind spot, because U.S. taxpayers forego billions of dollars every year in tax revenue losses for these tax breaks that taxpayers claim to offset their tax liability.
Okay, so I'll make it clear to me, because I'm having a little difficulty. Do women business owners take advantage of these tax breaks, or is it that they should be taking more of these women should be taking advantage?
Well, that was the interesting result of our survey. So we pushed out a survey online to women business owners that were affiliated with Women Impacting Public Policy, which is the largest trade association in Washington, D.C., representing women business owners and their affiliated groups, and that's more than 550,000 women business owners. We got 515 completed surveys from women business owners, and that's defined as owning 51% or more of their business is owned by women. And we found that when women could take advantage of tax breaks, they did. So, for example, the startup deduction for your startup costs, where you get to deduct up to $5,000 of your startup costs in the year in which you start your own business, we had an overwhelming response that said that women business owners took advantage of that, because there are no limitations other than the amount at which you could take the deduction, the $5,000 limitation. But in the other tax breaks we looked at that were limited by industry or whether or not you were organized as a corporation or a partnership, we found overwhelmingly that women business owners didn't take advantage of those tax breaks. And the reason is those tax breaks target industries other than services and retail. And it's in services and retail that women business owners are primarily concentrated.
So you're saying a woman who, for instance, opens a dog walking service is oftentimes does not take advantage of that $5,000 deduction?
No, I'm saying that a woman who's in a dog walking business absolutely would take advantage of the startup deduction. But that same dog walker might not get the same benefit from Section 179, which is the write-off, the accelerated depreciation you get for investments into qualified assets, which are mostly machinery and equipment.
I'll turn it over now to Dan.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I love talking about these issues because this is information that we really haven't talked about before, because we don't really think about the tax code in terms of how it impacts women business owners, and we really should, because they comprise more than 1/3 of all U.S. firms.
Well, that was going to be my question. What is you talked about the women-owned businesses fast growing. Are they growing faster than the overall small business growth?
Well, that's what's really fascinating. When you look at the data that Census collects every 5 years in the Survey of Business Ownership, it's finding that women are growing by a rate 5 times faster than the national average. And that's particularly important because the latest census data covers the period during the most recent recession, and women yet were still exceeding their other counterparts by growing 5 times faster than the national average.
Given that the economy for the 8 years of the Obama administration was extremely tepid, and people became more and more risk averse, now that we have a pro-business president, while he's only been in office about 6 months, 7 months, what's your sense of momentum of women wanting to start their own business?
I think that this is a trend that has been consistently documented by Census since going back to the 90s. Women business owners more and more are starting their own businesses, and they have more and more confidence in doing so. And we also see it when we look at the data at women and their education rates. So many women are going on to complete their college degrees. The majority of applicants, at least to certain graduate business programs, are in fact women. I teach in the accounting and tax department at American University's Kogod School of Business, and I was looking at these numbers the other day, and 60% of applicants to accounting master's programs are women. And not every single one of those graduates is going to go work for a public accounting firm. A good number of them are going to start their own, they're going to hang out their own shingle and start their own shop.
It's interesting. My brother-in-law went to the University of Maryland, got his degree in accounting. He sat for his board in Ohio, and 2 days after he was working at a Big 8 accounting firm while he was going through the certification process. And 2 days after he passed his board, he quit and opened a pizza shop to have his own business. So, what kind of businesses do you typically see that women are starting today?
Well, some of the most easily accessible data is found online that includes that information. If you look at, there is a annual State of Women's Business Ownership that's compiled every year. Amex funds this research, and they look at the different industries in which women tend to cluster, and 61% of women-owned firms are found in the following 4 service sectors. So 22% are in home or hair or nail salons or pet care. 15% are in healthcare or social assistance. 13% are in professional, scientific, or technical services, and that would be your accountants, lawyers, architects, PR, management consultants. And 11% are in administrative support and waste management services. And so those are the areas in which women business owners, we really see them clustering. But those, importantly for tax purposes, are all services industries. And services industries don't necessarily have access to the same small business tax breaks that folks in construction, production, and manufacturing do.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you a question about some controversy that's going on right now about women in the workforce. You may have heard about this senior person at Google who questioned whether or not women were actually interested in math and science. And in looking at your profile of what kind of businesses women tend to want to form, not that math isn't involved in all of them, but why do you think they gravitate to these businesses and not engineering and technology and other things? Why do you think they like these businesses?
Well, I think that there has been a lot of research out there that shows that women have barriers to accessing capital. There's tons of documented research that says that women have a tougher time getting bank loans and traditional access to capital to build and grow their businesses. And the types of services, industries, and businesses I described earlier tend to have lower barriers to entry, meaning it's not as expensive to start your own businesses in those types of industries. But the second thing that I would say is that when you look at women and how they're more and more becoming the majority of graduates entering into graduate programs and finishing their college education programs, I think you're going to see that those business formation industries numbers start to change and tick up more in the scientific, technical, legal, and accounting firm context. Absolutely.
So with more and more women coming into the workforce, is that because of population, that there are more women being born than men, and that it's creating an oversupply, or women tend to pursue education perhaps more so than men?
I think, honestly, from what I've observed, and I haven't really studied the research in great detail on that specific point, but from what I've observed, especially now that I teach in higher education and I'm a professor at a college, I think we've done a really great job encouraging girls to go and finish their educations through Title IX. I think that we've done a really great job of emphasizing as a country the importance of education and of getting your college degree. And I think that more and more women, because of Title IX and other important initiatives led by the Department of Education, we've really seen an uptick in the success and graduation rates of women.
We have to take a quick break right here, and we'll be right back.
Life. It's made up of the simple day-to-day moments that keep us all running on full of joy, passion, and restlessness. It's singing full on to your car radio with the windows wide open. It's a whole bunch of early morning rush hours and a few late night runs for Rocky Road. It's full of pit stops and drive-thrus. It's life, and we live it between fill-ups at Valero. Valero top-tier certified quality fuel keeps your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. Find a station near you at ValeroCleanGas.com.
Dan Perkins here with your Recalculating Small Business Tip of the Day. Did you know that a candle can be an energy saver for home and office? An old-fashioned candle can be a new-fashioned energy saver and at the same time provide a warm glow to any home office. Adding a candle seems like a silly thing to do, but it can help check for drafts. You can use the candle to test if new windows are needed. Here's how. First, take a roll of blue painter's tape and tear off pieces and put them on your left arm. Pass the candle around the opening and mark the spots around each window and door where the candle flame flickers. When you have finished your test, step back and see if you have tape around all of the window or only one side. The more tape you have on the window, the more money you will save by replacing those windows and doors. Check out recalculating.biz for more useful small business suggestions. This has been Dan Perkins with your Small Business Tip of the Day.
We've been asked recently by a number of people, how can they listen to past shows? And if you go to recalculating.biz, you'll find a link to iHeartRadio, which will allow you to go back and listen to shows that you didn't get a chance to finish or never heard. So we encourage you to go there, recalculating.biz.
Dan Perkins here from recalculating.biz with your Small Business Tip of the Day. How is your vision? I'm not talking about your eyesight, but rather, can you see the changes coming in your business or industry? The ability to see what's coming can give you an edge over your competition. Industry magazines can be a great help to see changes coming to your business. You get the magazines because you belong to a group. Use the resource of your group or association to keep yourself current. You're paying for it anyway, why not use this resource? If you keep yourself abreast of what's happening, you will be able to make the changes to enhance your opportunity to grow your business. So here's your recalculating.biz small business tip of the day. The next time you get one of those membership magazines in the mail, sit down and read it cover to cover. You just might uncover a new opportunity. I'm Dan Perkins from recalculating.biz with your small business tip of the day.
Welcome back to Recalculating, the program dedicated to American small business. Now it's time to bring together our two experts, Dan Perkins and Don Mazzella, as they discuss things that are happening now that are affecting your business success.
We're back with Caroline the Managing Director of the Kogod Tax Policy Center at American University. She's telling us some fascinating facts about women entrepreneurs. Dan, can I jump in here and just point out two things that I found out right along to your question? In New Jersey here, there are only two companies, engineering companies, that have women heads in New Jersey. Isn't that remarkable? And a friend of mine has for many years founded and run a education program for women scientists, and particularly in the medical field. And of the 120 odd directors of medical schools in the United States, only 11 are women. Interesting enough, 6 of them are graduates of this program, but it is a real hard slog. I'm going to ask her, Carolina, a difficult question. Do you think, as this person at Google said, and there are other examples, in fact, there was another one just came across a desk this morning, that there is a male bias about advancing women inside corporations, and therefore they prefer to go out and found their own companies?
I think that could be one answer. I think that the corporate world is incredibly competitive. I worked for a big accounting firm for a number of years, and it's incredibly cutthroat and competitive. And there can be lots of reasons why women would decide to take time off, either to have kids or to care for an aging parent, and then decide that their, other responsibilities mean that, they'd like to only work part-time on the side, do contract work. If you think about it, though, one of the areas of the labor economy that we haven't paid enough attention to are people that are doing work on the side in alternative contingent worker arrangements. And I think that's certainly an area where you'd find a lot of women who have stepped out of corporate life and doing work on the side. Anecdotally, I can tell you, my friends from law school, my friends from the accounting firm, how many of them do contract work on the side? A good number of them.
Dan, it's up to you.
Thank you. So, pursuing this line here, do you think that one of the reasons why women are leaving corporate America to start their own business, and to use your words, they are not comfortable with the cutthroat market that they might be in where they're working today and want a different quality of work environment?
I don't think that's the case. I'm saying that I've seen plenty of men and women leave to start their own firms. My brother-in-law left working for a major U.S. law firm to start his own firm, and he just had tremendous success doing that. I think that the corporate world has very strict and very measured metrics for moving up the ladder, and I think sometimes people decide to go ahead and go start out on their own because they can do better on their own. I've seen that with both my peers that were women when I was in the accounting firm context, and in my personal life from my family members that were in big law that went out to go start their own law firms. I think that we're changing the way that we think about work, and I think that with more and more women getting graduate degrees and more women being in the corporate world, they may make alternative decisions that are better for their specific situation. But there are plenty of women in the corporate world that are, absolutely determined to slog it out and do a great job.
I was going to ask a question about the skew of the research as to the different areas of jobs that women seem to gravitate to, and I think one of your highest category was personal service is a way to put it. Do you think that that is significant, or have women discovered that there is a significant opportunity in those areas?
Well, what's interesting is that our research found that women's concentration in retail and services has been consistent since the first measurements were done by census in 1972. That hasn't really changed. And that's one of the problems that we found when we took that data and looked at it in terms of the tax breaks that are available to small business owners in services and retail. We tend to not really acknowledge or really try to give extra help to folks that are in services or retail industries as much as we do other industries like construction, manufacturing, production, etc.
Caroline, what in your opinion of all this research work that you've done, is there one particular tax deduction that both men and women in small business always overlook?
The startup deduction. It's one that people, when they know it and they can take it, they absolutely do. But many times, and especially with the smallest of the small businesses that don't have a lot of tax expertise, and before they actually grow and really have the ability and facility and money to hire tax advisors, it's just that one deduction that can get away from people and that they're not aware of. I also think that to the extent that you do have investments in machinery, equipment, or qualifying real estate investments, Section 179 can be very helpful. But again, 179 is generally targeted to the larger personal property investments versus, someone who's just hanging out their own shingle doing, legal work or interior design work or an accounting firm on the side. Those people just need a laptop, and they're not going to go out and buy a great big piece of machinery. So 179 is not going to be as helpful for those folks.
Right.
Before you hear this, or this, or even this, before you turn a key, step on the gas and let it rip, before you get up and out and on the road, you have to be fueled by something. Make sure that something is Valero. Valero top-tier certified quality fuel keeps your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. Find a station near you at valerocleangas.com.
Dan Perkins here for Recalculating for Small Business with your tip of the day. Should you belong to a local marketing network? One area of potential business is other small business owners through marketing networks. These groups usually meet once or twice a month for lunch and discussions. Sometimes the group will invite a guest speaker to talk about how they are building their brand. People in different businesses generally go and make up these groups. If you have a computer problem, perhaps one of the members of your group can fix your problem, or at least tell you about somebody they've used to fix their problems. Sometimes members of your group can use your product or services. So here's your Recalculating for Small Business tip of the day. Reach out and ask your fellow business friends if they belong to a marketing group. And if they do, tell them you'd like to go. Shop around and find a group or two that you like. You'll make new friends and maybe find new customers. This is Dan Perkins with your Recalculating Small Business tip of the day.
Recalculating with Don Mazzella and Dan Perkins is moving from 10 p.m. Thursdays to Friday at noon. Be sure to catch all the great Recalculating shows, Tuesday at 10 a.m. and Friday at noon. Times quoted are Eastern Time.
There seems to be some discussion in the workforce about where people work. For a long time, there was a great emphasis on working from home. But a number of psychological studies that I've seen is that while many people like the idea of working from home, one of the disadvantages is that they're facing a lack of social interaction and the sharing of ideas on a personal basis with other employees. Do you think you'll continue to see more and more people work alone or work at home?
I think that kind of question falls along the lines of, is it really about work-life balance or is it really about work-life integration? And, I think people are so mobile, and with smartphones and having ubiquitous access to the internet, folks can work in many instances, depending on the industry that you're in, you can pretty much work from anywhere. And I think that that's one thing that we've gained from having smartphones and, technological innovations is the freedom to work and not be trapped at our home next to our modem and our desktop. We can do multiple things at the same time. And, I think it's shifting away from a work-life balance question more to a work-life integration question.
So I have one more question, then I'll give it back to Don. What businesses do you see as great opportunities from going forward for women to get into if they want to start their own small business?
I definitely think that it all depends on what your access to capital is. And it also depends on what your business plan is and what your idea is. I don't think it's a circumstance where women should target industries. I think women should focus on their experience and go out and do and start a business in the industries and areas in which women have experience, and that's where they're going to be most successful. So if that's the measure, I think that's you're still going to see women concentrated in services, but you're going to see more and more women in services with graduate and college degrees in those sectors like accountants, lawyers, architects, PR, management consultants, etc.
Okay, thank you. Don?
Well, we have time for just one or two questions. I'm going to go totally the other way. What do you think are the reasons people stick in a corporation? You know, obviously our program is about small business, but you know, I think we should be looking at why people stick to the grind. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. I mean, I think that there are very important barriers to entrepreneurship. I think retirement is one that's often overlooked. I think that, you know, particularly boomers who are on the early side, the younger boomers feel very compelled to fund their retirement, and so they might want to stay in the corporate sector for retirement reasons. I think healthcare is another reason. I also think that, at least with my generation and millennials, student loans are going to become more and more of a reason why folks are hesitant to go out on their own and start their own small business and prefer the safety and the regularity of a corporate paycheck.
Don, can I slip in there real quick on that answer? I just wanted to ask, do you mind if I just ask follow-up questions on that?
Go ahead, Dan. I was just going to say, please.
Caroline, do you think, you just sparked a thought, do you think that the student loan debt issue is part of the barrier of women getting into capital because of their indebtedness because of their student loans?
Absolutely, and I'm planning on putting out research on that. I think that there's absolutely a correlation between student loans and a barrier to business ownership. And it's not just entrepreneurship, but also just small business ownership in general. And I think that that's an area that's definitely ripe for further research. And I know that the U.S. Small Business Administration has actually looked at student loans in the small business context and put out some really good research on that. But again, we don't tend to think about, tax policy or business barrier policy in terms of gender as much as we should, and we certainly don't track it as much as we should with respect to the official government measures of business ownership from Census and IRS and Treasury.
Thank you.
Well, Caroline, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our time with you. Caroline Brukner, you're the managing director of the Kogod Tax Policy Center at American University. Tell people where they can find more about you, your institute, and anything else you want our audience to know.
Absolutely. Feel free to check out our research. You can go to american.edu/Kogod/$billion blind spot. You can just Google it. It'll pop right up, and you'll see our report, which also includes a really important timeline of major moments in U.S. tax and women's business ownership history, and it really kind of explains how and why we got to where we are today. And the report also gives really important action items for Congress and policymakers to consider going forward to further develop this research so we can make evidence-based tax policy decisions. We want to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck.
Spell out your institute's name for our audience.
It's the Kogod Tax Policy Center, KOGOD, Tax Policy Center. And my name is Caroline Brukner.
Caroline, thank you so much. I know I found it fascinating. I think Dan did as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Dan Perkins here from Recalculating.biz with your small business tip of the day. Should I grow my business or stay the size that I am? One of the most difficult decisions about a small business is, should I try to grow it? And if I want to grow, what is the best way to do it? If you look at the internet, you can find lots of advice on how to expand your business. So here's your recalculating.biz small business tip of the day. Go to the SBA.gov website and you'll find 10 ideas of how to grow your business. They're not in order of importance, they're just 10 ideas. Some may be more suitable, others may not for you and your business. The one that struck me was add another store. My brother-in-law started with one pizza shop, and over the last 15 years, he's grown to 5. You may not have a storefront, but a service business. So look at your competitors and see if they might be willing to sell or merge with you. This has been Dan Perkins with your recalculating.biz small business tip of the day.
At Valero, we believe life gets lived between every fill-up. So whether you go down the road on 2 wheels or 4, whether your Wednesday night is spent racing to the grocery store or down a track, and whether you're dropping off the mail, the pizza, the kids, or all of the above, we're here to make sure you're never running on empty. Valero top-tier certified quality fuel keeps your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. Find a station near you at valerocleangas.com.
Want to know more about health savings accounts for your company or yourself? Go to 2hsa.com and get a free employer's primer. Health savings accounts are a cost-effective way of offering health care benefits to your employees and yourself. HSAs build retirement funds for your employees, improve morale, and reduce your health care benefit cost. For a free employer guide to HSAs, go to 2hsa.com. That's 2hsa.com.
I was just thinking, Don, we did a show with Dr. Chris Gates on August the 1st, and his wine raisin product, which is the freeze-dried grapes and everything. And I thought, wow, I wonder if everybody got a chance to hear that show. So what I'm suggesting is, if you didn't hear all of today's show, or you want to hear our interview with Jason McCrae, you can catch that off of our website. And if you want to hear the interview with Dr. Chris Gates on his wine raisin technology, that was on August 1st. So go to the website, recalculating.biz, and you can see previous programs, and then go to Dr. Chris Gates and wine raisins and listen to the story. And you can listen to a lot of other shows just by going to the website. Don?
Yeah, well, what people should know about that is that they've taken the essence of wine that are beneficial for you and put it into a snack that gives you all the benefits of drinking the wine without any of the side effects. And if I remember correctly, you can even though you can't have wine, you can even use the product. Did I hear that right?
Absolutely. I can't have alcohol, so I'm between the getting my order of Carmel and especially Scotch flavored I got to try that. I got to make sure this got no alcohol. I should try one. And then Dr. Chris Gates wine raisins is something I am actually going to try for sure.
You know, Dan, for the next fancy food show, you got to come up and enjoy it yourself. I'm a diabetic, so I can't enjoy half the foods, but I think you would as well. Okay. As you know, I get some of our guests when I go to these shows, which are usually in New York at the Jacob Javits Center.
Well, we enjoyed the show today, and we encourage you to go to the website, as I said before, recalculating.biz, listen to Glass shows. And we're also going to start giving you some heads up about who's coming in the future. And we thank you for listening, and we'll see you on Thursday. We're going to have some exciting guests in September, including the former head of Apple, John Scully. We'll have a president of a dog and cat food company, and the founder of a company with a mobile app for workers, a barber who's created a new shave cream, and the head of an innovative coffee company, a leader of a firm that makes it easier for small business to utilize social media, and many things more. So stay tuned, and if you missed something, go to recalculating.biz and listen to a past episode.
Thank you for being with us today. From Don Mazzella
and Dan Perkins.
Thank you for joining us on Recalculating. We hope the information you received on today's episode was helpful to you in starting and growing your business. Please go to our website, recalculating.biz, to contact us, to listen to past shows, and see special offers. Until next time, remember, if you grow, we grow. Join us next week for more helpful ideas to make your business a great success. Recalculating, a program designed to help you be successful.